Welcome everybody to another episode of the Lunch Table Podcast, and in this video we're going to tell you what we thought about PlayStation Showcase that just recently showcased itself, and we have a good amount of thoughts to say about it. It's pretty underwhelming, unfortunately, but Dylan, why don't we get your thoughts?
PlayStation Showcase, that was Spider-Man Showcase. Let's get that right. Let's cut to the chase. You and I both kind of found it underwhelming. And it's sad because we waited so long for this to release. I mean, there were days where we were literally like losing sleep over like when this would come out. And there were a few highlights. There were a few memorable games that I thought stood out above the rest. But for sure, I think Spider-Man is the standout. But yeah, let's get your thoughts on it.
Yeah, so for people who stuck around in this channel for a while, we're doing something a little unorthodox, because for reactions we usually have some B-roll playing for you guys to the example. So sorry that it's not here, but unfortunately we felt like, again, it was just so overwhelming that it wasn't really worth to showcase too much. I mean, respect to all the people who showed their stuff, but for us, we really thought there would be more. That's what everyone thought, right? That's just the honest truth. So, I mean, Dylan said Spider-Man Showcase. I agree. That's probably one of the most exciting things. I have some other stuff that I felt like was noteworthy to mention and some new IPs. But for the most part, yeah, Spider-Man, I think we saw a lengthy gameplay. I think they were really generous. I like that they show. First of all, the graphics, though. I'm not going to lie. The graphics threw me off because it does look a lot like Spider-Man Miles Morales from PS5. And I thought it'll look a little bit one-up. So I was a little
for next gen too.
Yeah, but let's not forget that there's also technical limitations sometimes, and with the next gen, especially a game just releasing on next gen, I'm sure they're going to push the limit, because we do see some traversal, and the traversal looks amazing. We see wing suits for both Peter and I think Miles, but also the symbiote. I think, of course, everyone's been waiting to see Peter in a symbiote suit, which to be honest, I have a hot take. I felt like that was kind of ass. I'm not like a big fan of the design from Spider-Man PS4's suit, so when they showed this, I was like, it's a little too padded looking. It's like weird.
It almost made me think of was it Flash Thompson's like symbiote suit from the comics in a way?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I thought the texture was a little off, and even like the coloring. Like, I know it was like the gameplay was like in the afternoon or something, but it looked a little off to me.
Yeah.
I think they could have. It's disappointing that it's not co-op. I feel like they had the chance to do something cool where like you play with a friend as Miles and Peter, but I guess they wanted to, stick to like a single player story campaign. But I thought the new like suit designs, or like the their new moves, I thought they were cool. Like especially with Miles, now you can use like that tripwire webbing. I thought that was really cool, and the takedowns I thought were really like powerful. Peter's suit, like with the symbiote, it kind of makes me think of Ultimate Spider-Man a little bit, like the way like the symbiote reacts with like enemies and stuff. So I feel like that's what they're kind of going off of, because we haven't had like a good game with like symbiote play.
Right.
My question is, okay, so we've seen Kraven as the main antagonist, and he looks great. I like how they design him, and we've seen also Dr. Connors the Lizard also. My question is, like, how does Venom fit into this? Because we got him teased in the first trailer, and obviously the symbiote is integral to the story, but like, I feel like it's going to be like a mislead, like Kraven is going to be like the Mr. Negative of this game, and then Venom will end up being like the main boss. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think... well, of course, to every Spider-Man story, there's a heart. So, of course, I think the symbiote does come from Eddie Brock's treatment. We've seen that in the end credit. And I'm sorry, not Eddie Brock,
Harry's.
sorry, Harry. Yeah. Right, because they did like a redesign there. Which I really hope somehow they implement Eddie into the story, because I don't just want to see like Venom leave, because I'd love to see like a Venom game one day with that character that they introduce. So it'd be cool to have Eddie. I think, it will be a misdirection. I think Kraven will be a big pain in the ass like Hammerhead was. And I think his character is going to resemble Hammerhead a lot. And probably Connors is going to be just like a small part of that story. Like we saw that scene but probably from that scene will spawn some side missions, and it's both Peter and Miles taking care of that. I can't see it being super integral to the story. I know that there's some regenerative properties from the lizard, so but for the most part, I think they could kind of tie that up and then just throw some DLC. Maybe there's some lizard people running amok around New York City, and then there you go, whatever. So I don't see like that's being a big story point, but for sure, Kraven is going to be like, I'm here. What's that line from Iron Man 2? I'm here.
Let's just get over with.
Right, let's just get it over with. Because the real deal is actually Venom, and it's actually Peter. He's probably going to be the main villain. I so see Miles and Peter having a fight near the end, and then maybe Kraven gets defeated. There was this one storyline where Kraven self-deleted. YouTube stuff is lingo, so cringe. He self-deleted or whatever. I wonder if they're gonna like go that dark. I don't know. Maybe he's just going to get arrested, fine, because you want to use him later. But for sure, I think Peter is going to rip off the suit. And I really, really hope it's going to land on Eddie Brock. But that wouldn't make sense because, again, Spider-Man's all about heart. And I got a feeling it's going to go to Harry again. And they have to both fight Harry. And Harry's going to go. And then from there, will it go to Eddie? That's gonna be a little weird.
Well, the first game was kind of weird how it ended because I thought that Harry's treatment was gonna stem from the Goblin Serum, because there was that part of the game where Mary Jane found like Oscorp tech, and I think we saw like bits of like the Globulus Green or whatever it's called.
Right.
But then when we saw the end cut scene with Norman Osborn, it looked like it was the symbiote.
Right.
So it could be like, kind of like the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon where they're kind of like blending storylines together. And I feel like Norman will eventually be like the ultimate, boss. But probably they're saving that for like a sequel for after this game launches. But yeah, for sure, I think Venom will probably be the main antagonist, and Kraven, like you said, will probably be like up until that point, like the main antagonist, and he'll probably cause a lot of problems too. Also, I think I forgot the detective lady's name, but she is Wraith in this game.
That's her name, like Yuri something. I forgot.
Yuri, yeah. So I feel like that's gonna be like a side mission too, like kind of like Taskmaster. Maybe we could see more of Black Cat as well. And it looks like the game map has kind of expanded to like Queens too, which I like. That they're kind of like making it more like open world, and like I think the traversal is really nice too.
Oh yeah, that's a must. It's so fun to swing around in Spider-Man games, especially Insomniac Spider-Man games. Yeah, that I was super impressed, and it looks like, first of all, that first shot where he could like pull himself and then go far. Oh my god, that looks so fun. So yeah, I don't know how many. Of course, there will be probably DLC, and it's gonna be a huge game because you have both perspectives. And again, I wonder if Miles Morales will have his own side missions when you get to switch to him. I also wonder how long do you get to spend time with symbiote Spider-Man, because there's going to be a point where he cuts off the suit and he doesn't have the symbiote anymore. So what happens to the side missions? So I wonder also, like when you pass the game, could you just re-equip the symbiote suit through the skins like selector, and it'll still have the power sets and stuff like that? And if they do that, that's really interesting, because will he still have the dark type of tone like in the voice to do these side missions, or will it just be like kind of like, hey, yeah, I'm gonna beat your ass or something like that? So I think there's like a delicate balance there, but which I'm sure they worked out already. But again, how long do we get to spend as symbiote Spider-Man? And I hope this game is like 30 hours or something. Like I hope it's a long game. We've been waiting a long time.
Yeah, for sure. It warrants it, and like the hype and the expectation has been really up there, because we've been waiting for this game for a long time, because the first game was really successful and Miles Morales was great too. So just seeing that combination of both of them in the same game, I think it's going to be a wonderful experience. Probably there'll be just like minor things here and there, like we said, like the graphics, but I think overall the playability will be really enjoyable. But yes, and I was kind of hoping we would see what's going on with Wolverine too, because that was kind of teased, but we didn't really get anything with it. But I guess what other game stood out to you in this showcase?
Well, just touching on your point, I would have liked to see a lot more stuff showcased here. I thought we were going to see a lot of stuff, and again, they kept on going back and forth. People have been speculating when this will actually come to stream, and I don't know. I think everyone could say it's pretty like mid the stream. Yeah, for me. Okay, everyone has been expecting The Last of Us factions to show. I doubt it we'll see anytime soon The Last of Us Part 3, because if anything, they learned a lesson from Part 2 and they don't want to reveal stuff too soon because of the leaks and whatnot. So I saw a leak on Twitter and I saw like all these games and everybody thought that this was actually credible. And I was like, oh my God, The Last of Us Factions. I'm so stressed because then I have to update everybody with The Last of Us Factions news and whatnot, like I did for Part 3. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. But you know what's funny, guys? So, of course, I'm going to talk about Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake. Ooh. But in the beginning of the trailer, we saw ants. And I thought, first of all, oh, okay, that doesn't look like the CG graphics that they will use for The Last of Us, but I thought, oh my God, how clever for The Last of Us Part 3. They're going to show ants and then the ants will die or the ants will have spores go on them.
Like
and then
fungus.
Yeah, and they'll be infected because that's the original, like where they got it from. And then we basically went into full Nat Geo mode and everyone kept on eating each other. And I was like, from that moment when I seen that, I was like, oh shit, this has to be Metal Gear Solid 3 because it looks kind of similar to their CG graphics. I was like, yeah, it is. And then we see Snake. He comes out of like the shadows and he's there. I'm not a huge Metal Gear Solid buff. I have played Ground Zero and I did play Phantom. I'll say Phantom Menace, Phantom or whatever it's called. Those were great. Those were great experiences that everyone should play. So I cannot wait to get to this. I'm a little confused why they started with Metal Gear Solid 3. Why not just like go straight from the beginning? But with that, also, they announced a Master Collection. So you have Volume 1, which is Metal Gear Solid. You have Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty, and then Metal Gear Solid 3, Snake Eater. But this one is just a Snake Eater remake, the actual remake. I can't wait to see the graphics. I can't wait to see the gameplay. I assume it's going to be similar to the other Metal Gear Solid games. Are you like at all into MGS?
Not a huge follower, to be honest. I wish they would have shown gameplay though, because it was basically just a teaser, and I've always wanted to get into it, but it's like you probably summed it up perfectly. But what else stood out? A Phantom Blade, I thought was really cool.
Oh, we're moving on from Metal Gear Solid now. You're gonna leave everybody hanging?
Shit.
Damn. Okay. Well, sorry everybody for Dylan's inadequacies. Okay, let's move on to Phantom Blade. Phantom Blade looked...
Sorry, guys.
Phantom Blade looked really good. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not into those games. I definitely want to buy that. That looked impressive.
Yeah, it was kind of like a mix of like Sekiro and Wulong, if anyone's played that on Xbox. I like the martial arts style of it, and the swordplay is really clean. And it's very fast paced too, which I like. But I learned my lesson from The Wind Road because that game was ass. So I mean, I'm not gonna buy just off aesthetics alone. I'm glad that they like introduced some gameplay into it, and it feels like a very like lore heavy story too. So yeah, I can't wait to see it.
That, my gosh, I never seen you know what people don't think about when you play games? You're in an open room, let's say, right? And it's like huge, it's like a cathedral. And all you could do is like jump around because you're just fucking schizo and you're just jumping around, whatever. And you want to get to the point where you have to press triangle or square or something, right? But no one ever thought about jumping and attaching to the ceiling real fast and like moving around the whole space. And I feel like this game is the first to actually do that. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but that looked amazing. And then also just the gameplay between those two guards with the mask, it was like back and forth and the sound effects, everything. It looked so polished.
It felt cinematic. Because even like the environments was a big part of it. Like you have to like hide behind like columns to like avoid
that was
range
cool.
attacks. I thought that was really cool. It's like, how do you utilize the space as well? It's not just like spam to the boss. I thought that was really good. Makes it feel like more immersive in a way.
Right.
But I thought, the design was beautiful.
Well, the design was beautiful. Now let me move along as you did with me Let's talk about real fast. Let's just mention Ghostrunner 2 because I think a lot of people love streaming Ghostrunner 2. It's a really popular game. It was originally Xbox exclusive, so it's kind of funny now to see PlayStation take over. It's like PlayStation's buying a lot of stuff, and at first I was like all down with it. I was like, hey, it's a business, yeah. And plus they produce a lot of cool stuff. But I'll talk a little bit later about like why we're seeing a lack of like cool games now, and we're kind of like feeling underwhelmed. But for the most part, it's really interesting to see Ghostrunner 2. We get motorcycle gameplay. That looks so fun, man. When I seen that, I was like, oh my God, so high octane, super, super fun. Let me get your thoughts on that trailer.
At first, I thought it was going to be like a Tron game when I first saw that
A
motorcycle
Tron game
or something. I mean, that would have been cool too. But yeah, I think it looks really nice. The first game was really impressive. And yeah, I definitely think like we talked earlier, like everything now feels like very like cyberpunky. But I love the quality and the aesthetic of it. Really cool design. What do you think of it?
Yeah, well, no, you're right. Yeah, we were talking before. We were actually, guys, you don't know, we were doing a Fubar review, and we were talking about, which is a show on Netflix, and we were talking about how it looks like the new aesthetic moving forward for now is going to be cyberpunk themed / probably fantasy as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it seems like it's going at the moment. So I'm down for it. I think I'm down for it as long as it's not buggy and a mess and it's worth playing.
Well, there was a lot of games too that kind of had that aesthetic too. Like that first game they showed in the beginning, like I think it's called Fairgame. It was like a heist kind of thing. I thought it was like a DLC for Cyberpunk. Because it kind of has like similar tone too. But I like the trailer for it. I thought it was really cool. I like the song they use and the gameplay looked really clean.
Yeah, they said it's hacking before seeing groups of people attempting to break into banks. So I don't know anything else about it. I don't know if it's like open world. I don't know anything about this game.
Yeah, I mean, but then there was like other games too that felt like kind of ass. Like there was that Foamstars game, which was basically a knockoff Splatoon,
yeah,
right. I was like, ugh, whatever. I feel like I wish I could like fast forward the showcase sometimes. I was like, all right, next, like whatever.
Yeah, it was pretty. It was a CG trailer, and then it turned into full gameplay, which that's always great when they do that though, because we need to see gameplay. What threw me off was like I wonder how technical it is to actually do those effects and stuff. So probably like it must be really impressive. Like actually just trying to make that game, but for the most part, is it like how long could you stay playing this game?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Well, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like it's very indie heavy this year.
Could I move on to could I just talk briefly about Bungie's new game?
Yeah, shoot for it.
Okay. I was trying to look for it. That's what I was hoping. I was hoping you said like a yeah. Bungie has a new game called Marathon that's coming out, so that's exciting to see. That was a cool trailer. It looks like everybody's an android. We don't know much about the game, but let me get your thoughts based off the trailer.
Trailer is really nice. I think like this showcase had like really good gameplay wise, there wasn't much, but I think the cinematic trailers were really cool, and yeah, definitely feels kind of like almost cyberpunky too. I mean, there's not much to go off for me.
Damn, it's so fucking boring today. Come on, we gotta entertain people today. Come on. All right, well, you give me your next game that you think is all right.
That's the thing. It's like I feel like it was so disappointing. There's not much for me to. Okay, well, I thought the VR stuff, ironically, was impressive.
Do you play VR?
No, but that's why I thought it was impressive. Well, I thought it was funny because they did like a Resident Evil VR game, or as like it was Resident Evil 4 but VR mode, and I'm like, how much fucking stress do you want to add to me like already that the game already gives me? Now you want to make me fucking like immerse in the game and experience that shit. But that's and they said it's in development, so I guess like the tech is still evolving, as you always say. The industry is evolving.
Yeah. So
there was another game too called Synapse, which I thought like looked really cool, like design wise. Yeah, it was kind of like a shooter, first person shooter with like some. Well, it kind of made me think of almost like Prototype in a way.
I thought that was Deathloop, the VR. At first, the aesthetic, I was like, oh, and then it wasn't.
But the only other standout for me, honestly, and it's not really much of a standout, was the Q Lite, which is the new handheld from PlayStation.
Right.
I kind of expected it. There was a lot of rumors surrounding it, so I figured they would showcase it. But when I saw it, and then they didn't really go off on it too much. It was basically, okay, it's really disappointing because it's like you can only play it over Wi-Fi, which makes no sense to me because it's like, okay, well then I might as well just play my PS5, like, and you know they're gonna market this handheld for at least like $300 some shit. So it's like, what's the real benefit of me? Like, I could buy a fucking like Steam Deck or a Switch Lite.
Well, the problem is they're contradictory because the whole point of PS5 is next generation. It's 8K graphics and this and that and 3D audio and look at our hardware and stuff. And then you produce this that you're supposed to play off of it. And it's over Wi-Fi. I could only play it like in my laundry room. I can't like really go to downtown or something like that, right? So it's not a PS Vita 2, and it's also just a HD screen. No mention of like 4K this, 4K that. So yeah, I think the price tag probably will be low. I mean, I think that's pretty fair. I like the control design because, you know, the Nintendo, you had to be like this playing. Like you can't really like actually like, you know, for Nintendo, like handhelds are not meant for human beings. Everybody thought it was. It was actually meant for birds. So with their feet so they can move it. Right. So, but I mean, this looks okay. For that purpose alone, if you guys play PlayStation through your phone, like some weirdo, people who play PlayStation through their phone is like aliens that come from like Mars for the first time, and they're like, "What is a console?" And that's what they thought it was. Right. But I mean, if you do that, then sure. I mean, I wouldn't play like if I want to enjoy a game for its beauty, I wouldn't really play it on this, unless if I'm taking a shit or something like that. And I don't want to miss something, then I'll play it in my bathroom. Maybe that's what this is for. Well, on the same note, they also revealed the earbuds. Cool. Let me give you guys some advice. Make sure you clean your ears, right? Because with those earbuds, if you leave wax in your ears, dude, that's so gross. So make sure you clean your ears.
That shit is white as hell. It's like the PS5, white, so you're gonna see that wax.
You're gonna see it. Yeah. You guys better clean your ears. Yeah. Sure. I mean, but yeah, I mean that's okay. I mean, but then again, it's like everyone has their own headphones, and if you're playing a game sitting down just chilling, why, you know, might as well just put the headphones for the 3D
you're gonna
audio.
have your own headset anyway, so it's like, what's the real benefit of it, right?
Unless it's like a thing you could just chill, like go somewhere and have these.
I mean, I probably wear them like not gaming, like on just like my daily commute. I mean, they do look cool.
Yeah. The case looks cool. I mean, well,
the case.
Well, I was gonna go to that. Well, you guys, let us know what you think of the overall branding for the next gen for PlayStation. Because for me, it kind of looks, the controller's cool. The console and other stuff looks very cheap. I'm not gonna lie, it's like too plasticky and like flimsy. So let us know what you guys think.
It looks like they took a PS2 and put it in a binder.
A binder,
and that's the PS5.
That's the PS5. Right? Yeah.
No, I agree. I feel like the design has been like very lackluster. Like just keep it simple. Like that's why I feel like the strongest design wise is PS2 and PS4 for me. Yeah, very simple, not overly complicated.
Exactly. Look, they're worried about, this is the most uncomfortable headphones you have in your life. They worry about aesthetics too much. You know what I mean? Like this thing, it's like gonna be like this.
You're not recreating the Apple headphones, like
yeah.
I mean, I guess they were trying to push it to make it look more evolved. And just going back to the Q Lite for a minute, I feel like everybody kind of expected the new handheld to be like the next stage of the PSP. And I feel like it was really cheaply designed, and it's kind of a cop-out because I feel like now they don't want to do like discs anymore. Like I feel like now everything is becoming more like online or wireless.
Streaming or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
And perhaps maybe it's in a way to kind of move on with next gen, right? And to make hardware like less clunky now.
Yeah.
But I feel like the PSP like was so evolutionary, and they should have just took that concept and then, because that's basically what we all wanted, was the next PSP, not like a whole fucking like laptop in my hands. Like it's like a duct tape or something like stretched out or something. It's like a table I could eat my food off of or something.
You can put your sandwich on there on break.
Just eat sushi or sniff coke off this thing or something, right? Yeah, because I've actually my friend of mine bought the Steam Deck and I played it, and for the most part it didn't like impress me overall. So I kind of wanted them to like go above and beyond that. And PlayStation has always been kind of like the only rival with Nintendo. But now I feel like, man, they just took like 12 steps back with this thing that they showcased. And I feel like also was kind of, I didn't like how they depicted it too, because they were like, oh, okay, well, here's this link to this website. You can check out the spec. It's like, why not just go more in detail with it, right? I mean, this is a showcase, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm like looking at this website and it looks kind of mid. It's not really some. I really don't. Everybody, okay, I bet you guys were expecting to might have seen like a PS5 Pro or something like that. That's what I thought. I was so stressed out, thinking, oh, okay, they're gonna show the day when it'll come out, and also like later on they'll show like when to pre-order. So I thought they were gonna show that. I'm not sure why they didn't. I think just the whole industry in general has issues. But let me just mention real fast before, so we can move this along. For you like nerds out there, they released Final Fantasy 16, so that looked all right. If you guys like that stuff, I know. Again, sorry about there's no B-roll here. It's pretty lackluster. Alan Wake 2, that looks cool. That's dual characters that you get to be afraid with. So
okay, let me ask you, what got you more, the Alan Wake trailer or the Five Nights at Freddy's trailer? As far as like jump scare,
I was writing notes and I was like, and I was like, that got me more. It was like that got me actually. Hey, that's a fun game too, I guess. I never played it before, but that looks fun for you guys. They did show that. What did you think of finally? Because we covered, if you guys are new to this channel, we covered Ubisoft Forward, which was basically Assassin's Creed Forward, but we get to see Assassin's Creed Mirage here, and they show a release date and they also show gameplay. What did you think of that?
We talked a little bit earlier. I thought it did look kind of like RPG-ish.
Yes.
But we did get to see gameplay. I thought that was cool, finally. And it very feels like Assassin's Creed, almost like the first one in a way. So I love this new location. This takes place like in, I think, Baghdad or something. Yeah. Like the Middle East. So yeah, I thought it makes sense. It feels like very like, traditional like AC roots. And I can't wait to like see like, the next stage of the story, if you will. But you're a big Assassin's Creed fan. So, let's get your thoughts on it.
I'm still, God, I don't know why I'm blanking now. I'm still interested to see how did the story come to be, because the main character later on becomes like Loki, gets possessed by Loki. We see that in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. So I'm still interested. I know there's a prequel to that, but I'm still interested to see like why they chose this character. And I'm not saying the character's name, because sometimes when we record these things, sorry guys, sometimes we forget things, and I was about to say Bakudo from Netflix's Defender, so I don't want to say that.
I wonder if he's like a direct descendant.
There you go.
From I was thinking, I wonder if he's like a direct descendant from like Altair.
No. He's just old Bossum. And we love him for who he is.
No association, right?
Yeah. No, Bossum, and he turns into Loki. So I wonder if they're going to show that at the end. They said this game will play a lot like Assassin's Creed Unity, which is, I mean, come on, we all want the gameplay to look like that. We want it to look very slick, and the parkour to look awesome, and the fighting moves to look amazing. And unfortunately, with RPGs, they don't offer that. It's very blocky with the strikes and whatnot. So they said they wanted to try something new, if you guys weren't aware, where there's going to be different games that plays like traditional Assassin's Creed games, and then there's going to be other games that's like, the Valhalla and Odyssey and stuff like that. So when I saw this, I was like, I wish they kind of showed more of that smooth parkour gameplay that looked, but it was a cool trailer nonetheless. I'm a big Assassin's Creed fan. I think they're good quality games. I mean, for the most part, the story can sometimes be lackluster, but you can't say that the maps aren't amazing. They are each I mean, they fucking found something in Egypt, a tomb, through that. I mean, that's how accurate they were. They guessed it and it came to being, right? If that's not red pill, I don't know what is.
Well, yeah, I think they always like one, thing that they do really well in the AC games is like they managed to capture the time period really well, and I think that was beautifully done in this game. But I don't know what else they could really do. I feel like with AC, personally, I feel like we've seen it all, unless they go to like World War II or something.
Oh, I love that.
But still, nonetheless, I think it's a beautifully designed game. It really, like I said, it kind of calls back to like the first game with the very traditional stealthy kind of roots. It almost feels like a Prince of Persia game or something.
Yeah, oh yeah, well that's the roots. Yeah, exactly. And the gameplay is not bad. Like I think the fighting mechanics aren't bad for the most part. It's just the NPCs are very like Mod Podge looking, and they're like they're very like stupid kind of. But of course, I expect that with a game so huge, right? Like Odyssey was like a fever dream. I don't even remember getting platinum for the DLCs and that game. But it is what it is. I'm excited for this. And again, I think maybe it's a smaller landscape. I'm pretty sure because they did like a zoom out. I don't know if that's the whole thing, but it looks really cool. And then I forgot if this is actually, so guys, if you're interested, this is coming to Xbox One. So last gen, next gen. And PlayStation, of course, next gen, last gen. Amazon Luna. Only people who play Amazon Luna is Jeff Bezos and the one who's like talking shit in our comments right now about like our coverage. But yeah.
Yeah, I think that releases October 12th. Yeah.
Yes, correct. All right. So before we talk about some like depressing stuff, do you have any other games that you want to give a quick shout out to?
Beat Saber is the next. No, I'm kidding.
Hey, Queen Pack, there you go.
God, what was? I feel like like I said, the standout. I mean, Street Fighter was kind of mid as far as the trailer. I wish we would have seen more gameplay.
Right.
Because they only really like showed off like the characters. I wish we would have seen like more of like, because we were talking earlier and you mentioned like there's like a lobby or something like you could fight, like people on the streets and shit. I think that's a really not like literally on the streets. Like you're not gonna go up to somebody and like say Hadouken to them or something.
Ouch.
Right. But I think that's a cool concept, and I do like kind of like how they're expanding, to make it more than just like an arcade fighter. It's kind of becoming like 21st century, like if you want to say.
Yeah.
Arizona Sunshine was kind of interesting. It was kind of like this Borderlands game. VR2, yeah. There was like a couple anime games that like I didn't really like care for, to be honest. They were basically like Genshin knockoffs. But I want to ask you, because I know you're a huge fan. I haven't played the games, but I know you were probably hyped for this, and they brought back a cool character. The Destiny showcase.
Oh yeah.
Let's get your thoughts on that, because Akram is he's unfortunately he's got his veterans card now from the Destiny community. But yeah, let's get your thoughts.
Yeah, so that looks. I've been, content creation and just life in general. I mean, any Destiny player will know that Destiny's a game that you really have to dedicate a lot of time to, especially the bounties and stuff like that. And I've been there since the beginning for Destiny 2. So I am a veteran. I'm a wayfarer. I don't know. That's still like a flex nowadays. If you guys know, you guys know. But yeah, I mean, I can't believe that Cade came back. I'm so happy about that. I haven't been in touch with the story for a while, unfortunately. So to see Cade, that was such a huge deal when a Forsaken was out. And then so to see Cade back, sort of back, like resurrected, that threw me off. It's always great to see Nathan Fillion return in a role, any role really, to hear him again. And I thought that they were going to throw like a little homage to Lance Reddick after his passing, and they'll show Zavala. But it's interesting because instead they showed Cade. I wonder if they will do something like that. Or they'll explain something. I don't know if they already have. So guys, let me know. So if you guys don't know, I think I dropped off in Beyond Light. I think that's what it's called. I dropped off in Beyond Light. I didn't even like finish the whole thing. I did the main campaign, and then after that, I kind of just fell off. Because again, with me with Destiny, it's like it got to the point where it's so monotonous. And like if you go look at the comments from like any social media post, a lot of people are saying, "Oh, it's dead game still," and it's like it does suck. But I guess that's what you expect, because they kind of trapped themselves, because when they separated from Activision and that's their main moneymaker is Destiny, and then they have the DLCs and stuff like that, and Everest, God, I forgot her name now. I'm sorry. I know everybody who knows that they probably hate her because all the how expensive like her speed bikes are and shit like that. But it kind of becomes something where you forget the time, and you've been playing for like 6 hours, and you're just like, shit, I didn't move anything. Like my character's still like 6 hours, and my character's still like 2 levels like up at least. That's the work I did. And then plus they have like the exotic quests, and it's like, oh, get these 45 headshots in this specific location with this specific enemy, and it sucks so bad, and it takes so long. And then imagine doing that, but then you have something that you have to LFG on the app, and you have to like go find people to hang out with and play. And in the raids, I mean, I've done plenty of raids before, but it's like, it gets to the point where it feels like more of like a chore. So you can't any like adult that actually has shit to do, and especially a content creator, you can't just like keep playing. You know what I mean? You can't. I mean, the only people that can probably are, of course, hardcore people that has that leniency, and also streamers. Unfortunately, I mean that's it. And I wonder if this is going to be the last DLC, because I know there is like a cap. They did have like something that they revealed long time ago. I'm not sure. I forgot if this was the actual cap, but overall, I'm always excited to see like something else added, because it brings back memories, and I hope people are actually enjoying it, those who actually stayed with it for a while. And I gotta catch up on like YouTube. What, guys, if you guys know about Destiny, I gotta catch up on Bife. If you guys like Bife, definitely check it. If you guys don't know Bife and you want to get into Destiny, check him out. He's like a big lore guy with Destiny. My name is Bife. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the new Destiny DLC. Now I want to talk a little bit about why this was kind of lackluster, this event. So I think me and you could both agree this event was pretty much like a 4 out of 10, right? Like this was pretty whatever. I think my theory into why it is, I think it has a lot to do with the virus that came out. It really put a halt to a lot of things. I also think it has to do with the economy, believe it or not. So there's like shows that I heard from like somebody who has like a reputation in the industry, who covers shows, and apparently like shows like Succession are ending. One, because it makes sense to end it there, but it's also because the economy, believe it or not, they just can't keep going, so they have to cut their losses. And some business moves make sense, like scrapping Batgirl, because it wasn't going to get them a lot of money, and plus we all know it was kind of like an ass idea to begin with. I think it has to do with the economy. That's why there's like a lot of halt to productions. I think underpaid writers, of course, that's a big thing these days. Also crunch time for AAA games. The amount of stuff they have to put into a game, and then plus you have to work on it for this amount of time. Why do you think Ubisoft has so many studios all around the world? I mean, that's why. And then it has to do also with, I think, hardware limitations. China is a big producer of where we get these chips and stuff like that. And it's a big issue.
Yeah.
And so like all that, I think combined really halted things. And there's a new trend now where we're going to have our own live streams. We're going to forget about E3. Dylan did an update video about E3, so you guys want to see that. But I think that's what it is. So, E3 was great back then, because E3 was, unless if you're like a diehard idiot, like you just like really care about the war between consoles. For the most part, it was like an ensemble of like, oh, this is revealed from Xbox, this is dope, and oh, this is revealed from PlayStation. I'm super excited. I have both Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. I'm super excited. Mm-hmm. But now when it's separate streams, you concentrate more on how disappointing things are. And of course, indies are great. I think people should play indies. They do offer something, because in lack of graphics and this and that, there's a beautiful soul to the indies that you could see even more clearly. But for the most part, it's like a lot of indies, And it's kind of like those napkins from Five Guys that they just give to you and like, wow, you know what I mean?
Well, not even like good indies too, because like I feel
some
like
of them are bad. Yeah.
there have been a lot of great indies, and then there have been like a lot of ass ones too. Like I'm sitting here laughing because they're showing a game with like cats in like this civilization game or like Clash of Clans style game. I'm like,
Clash of Clans.
This is what we're really looking forward to in 2024. Like shit, I might as well fucking pack up. Yeah, a lot of things you said, I definitely agree with. You know, especially with the economy thing. I think personally, it's just I feel like next gen they keep hyping it up and they keep saying it's the future, but it's like I'm looking at these games, not even just PlayStation. I'm looking at Ubisoft Forward, Xbox. I'm like, what is the real innovation, right? I feel like now looking at Spider-Man, I'm like, okay, it's cool and I'm excited to play it, but it's like, what is it's like you kind of want to get your money's worth out of the PS5, I guess is what I'm saying. Because like you're spending all this time and devotion hyping up PS5. You're already like halting production for anything from the PS4, right? Everything's exclusively now going to be for PS5, I imagine. So it's like, okay, well, it's like this is what I'm really going to pay all my money's worth, And I don't know. It could be a number of factors too. I don't know. Like I think you mentioned the writers thing that could also be important, and it's like also like crunch time. Like I feel like there's so much pressure now to put out a quality game. It feels like now it's kind of like they're cutting corners in a way, just to say like, oh, we have a game out, and once they put it out, like, oh, then we'll just fix the bugs later after everybody's kind of like tested it. So I don't know. I feel like, and yeah, with the E3 thing, I feel like back then, like there was kind of like a friendly rivalry among consoles, but in a way kind of improved them to like see like, okay, well this, we can do better than this. And there was also that kind of collaboration too. Now it feels like they're just fighting themselves and they're shooting their own foot, because it's like, okay, well, we have Spider-Man and it's kind of like overshadowing all these other games in a way. It's like, why am I going to waste my time paying attention to these indies when I'm for Spider-Man, right? So I feel like it's like watching these separate showcases. Like, I get that they all want to be independent now, and then I guess that's the future now. Like everybody wants to be independent, but it's like, all right, well then, if you want to be independent, that's fine. But like, give me something that really shows me that you've been working on something, worth my time and my money, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. I think it's a mixed bag of issues. I think it's also, I say that art is a reflection of our culture, but sometimes art can be quite expensive, and that could seep into the actual art. I think that's what we're seeing right now. And unfortunately, that's just how it's going to be for the time being. And again, these products aren't easy to make, because if there's a competition, there's a haste to beat the next person. And it's like, well, we're still working on this one. And then after that, we got to move on to the next one. And a lot of things are rushed. And then plus maybe people are underpaid,
sure.
and 80 hours a week or something like that. It's too much. I don't know how this will be resolved. Honestly, Trump 2024, baby. I don't know how it'll be resolved, but but we'll see. All right, my friend. Well, we talked enough. We tortured these people long enough.
We tortured ourselves.
Well, what are your final thoughts on this showcase?
I thought that it was an ambitious take.
On a franchise as a whole.
As our friend,
shout out to Black Bonitas.
Jerome says. Yeah, I mean, I was kind of disappointed. I kind of wanted more. I'm like Wong, like I wanted more.
What do you want? That's PlayStation. What do you wanted more?
No, but I really hope that, I mean, it's their fault and it's not their fault at the same time. Like you said, it's a lot of factors that, are beyond their control. But I feel like there's going to be more pressure for next year if you think about it. Because like, okay, well, what if we don't get the next Spider-Man game till probably like 2025 or 2026, right? It's like, what are you really going to put out, right? So I'm worried. I'm really worried. And just for the console itself, like we talked about a little bit, like the new handheld and the PS5, I'm kind of worried that it's not going to live up to the hype, unfortunately. And it makes me wonder, like, did they ever find the right power core? Like, did they find the unobtainium from Avatar to power this? Like, they're going to have to build Doc Ock's machine from Spider-Man 2 just to power the graphic. That's why the graphics look so shitty. Probably they haven't found... They're probably running on like oil and coal right now. just
they're gonna go to the Middle East to invade.
That's what it is. That's why Ukraine is fighting so hard right now.
Now I know I heard it all. That's a hot take for sure.
That's why China's sending balloons, because they're trying to steal tech for the PS6.
For the PS6? Shit, they want to have a monopoly over the next gen.
I'm telling you. Mark my words. They better bring this up at the next presidential debate, because this is an issue, America.
Have I seen Biden talking about this? You still play Blue's Clues, whatever, right?
They're running on like steam engines.
Steam engines. We're in our steampunk phase right now.
Shit. Go to Steam. That's why it's called Steam.
We are like in the industrial revolution of gaming, except there are no games to be played.
In the industrial recession right now. Shit, I feel like, how did we go back in time? Shit. Damn.
What a shame.
That's my hot take, guys. But do you have any final thoughts and what you kind of, or if PlayStation was listening to this right now, what would you say to the executives?
I'd say that honestly, I appreciate the ambition. No matter what, there's still, if the graphics aren't really there, which is for the most part, the general audience will always try to expect that. Like, okay, this is next gen. I need to have really great graphics, or at least an upgrade. But there's also other things that they do add, like how big the map is and also how fast things are. And I really genuinely appreciate that. I think AAA gaming, as our friend Miller said, a shout out to Miller, he said AAA gaming is really bad. There's a lot of crunch and there's a lot of drama involved. And I realized that. But unfortunately, the general populace, they look mostly at AAA games, right? They're not going to watch the showcase and say, oh, hey, I can't wait for that indie. A lot of people will. And I think that it's really admirable to show these indie games, not for a charity, but because they do offer something, because games did evolve. They evolved in a sense of story and just the way how you showcase that story through gameplay. I think it's a really beautiful thing. I mean, there's games like yes, and there's games like Stray and stuff like that, and they showcase like beautiful themes, and the way how you could do that is just amazing. So I appreciate showing the indies. I just think that for the people who don't really care about them, they're going to think this showcase is ass. So we're speaking in terms of, what everyone else is thinking in general. It's more likely a 4 out of 10, but we're still excited to see some of these other games, because I'm sure they worked really hard on these indie games too, and they deserve a voice and stuff like that. And these games deserve to be played. And the VR games are ass, though. I'm not going to defend those VR games, but you said for sure when I said that. But yeah, but again, I'm a PlayStation guy, so I still think they're beating Xbox. I mean, Xbox has the Game Pass going for them. The hardware, though, I think you guys need to like whatever, go to
stop using oil and coal.
yeah. Or take care of that. I can't wait to see the PS5 Pro, though. That's gonna be a stressful day, because I'm gonna
finally figure out there's nuclear power,
energy, nuclear fusion. That's how they use it, or something like that. Oh gosh! But hey, if you guys again felt like us, this showcase was pretty lackluster, why don't you just go outside and take a breath of fucking fresh air? All right. So, anyways,
yeah,
I think that's why they did that. They're helping you. But Dylan, why don't you take us away?
Well, guys, if you stuck around to the end, we appreciate it. We love doing these. Well, maybe not now, but these are kind of stressful for us to cover, but they're still fun nonetheless. I love talking about these game showcases and all the new games that are coming out. I'm sure we'll still play. That's the sad part, is we're still gonna buy all these games.
Of course, collectors,
right? But yeah, guys, thank you so much. Definitely check out our other showcase discussions if you haven't already. We cover Ubisoft Forward, Summer Game Fest, Game Awards, all that jazz. And we'll still cover plenty more in the future. But yeah, check us out wherever you listen to your podcasts. Apple, I almost said Apple Music again. God. Spotify, Anchor, and of course YouTube. And you can check us out on Instagram as well, where we do updates for our channel. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and thanks for having lunch with us.
See you guys.